Many people, when they hear the word chastity, they might think either of a very uncomfortable belt or they might think abstinence. It's different though. Abstinence is about what you're not doing. If you just said, I'm abstinent, that would mean you're refraining from a particular action. Chastity, however, is a virtue. It's about what you are doing. It means you are in control of your sexual desire rather than your sexual desire being in control of you. So if we think of another virtue like courage, courage enables a person to be brave in the face of fear. And chastity enables us to love in accord with our dignity and the demands of love. I think the sex talk, as we've called it in the past, parents should be having this talk with their children, but it shouldn't be an isolated incident. It should be a part of an ongoing conversation. I mean, when we think of other important things in our lives, like maybe math, we don't have a math talk. Have you had the math talk? Okay, that's all you need. Well, why is it something as important as our sexuality, we think there's only one talk? And so I think it needs to be a part, as I say, of an ongoing conversation where we talk about the goodness of our bodies, the sacredness of our bodies, the goodness of our sex, right? So when I pray for my kids each night, I'll say something like, Lord, I thank you for creating Liam a boy, a good boy. And I pray that he would grow up to be a strong man, to give his life away as a priest or a husband. And the same thing with my daughter. I thank you for creating her to be a beautiful girl like mummy. So affirming the goodness of their sex, and then also reiterating the fact that their life is not about them. It's about being given away through the sacrament of marriage or through holy orders of religious life. I think we've had the tremendous blessing of John Paul the Great, St. John Paul the Great's papacy, in which he told us what the church has always taught in one way or another, that the person is good. And we aren't a person who has a body, but rather we are a body. And that the body and sex and sexual desire are good things, and these are actually God's idea. They weren't come up with by Playboy or Cosmo or something. This is God's plan. And so once we understand that, then we can start having dialogues with our children that aren't shame-based. For example, if we find our child playing with themselves in the bathtub, rather than shaming them, like perhaps some of us got as children, and saying, don't do that, that's dirty, well, it's not dirty. I mean, unless they were just out in the mud, it's not dirty. So instead saying something like, your body is good and it's beautiful, but it's not a toy. So we don't play with it like it's a toy because it's sacred. So using this language, I think, can help. We might be the first generation that needs to talk to our children about pornography. And when I say that, that might sound rather shocking because you think, well, I don't want to scandalize my children, and that's good. You shouldn't want to scandalize them, and you shouldn't. However, we live in a pornographic culture. And whether our children go looking for porn or not isn't the point, because the porn industry, you have to believe, is looking for them. And so if they don't hear about it from us, they're going to find out about it some other way. And when they do stumble across porn, because remember, the question isn't, will they see it? They absolutely will, unless you keep them in a cave somewhere, which I don't recommend. So therefore, we need to be talking to them about these things. There's a terrific book called Good Pictures, Bad Pictures, Porn-Proofing Today's Young Kids. It's very beautifully written, very beautifully illustrated, and it's designed so that you can sit down with your 7-year-old, 8-year-old and talk to them about the dangers of the internet. And there's ways to do this that don't put more images in their mind, or any images in their mind that they don't already have. The second thing parents absolutely must do is download Covenant Eyes accountability software and their filtering. If you give your child an iPhone or a tablet or a computer, and you don't put this software on their computers, you've essentially just given your child an X-rated movie theater, right? That should wake us up. So go download Covenant Eyes accountability software. This enables you to get reports of where your children have gone online. And that way you know where they're going online. I mean, we hold them accountable for what they do offline. We want them to give an account. Where were you? Who were you with? What movie did you see? Why were you out so late? Why is it that when it comes to online, we treat it, out of sight, out of mind, when a lot of damage can be done there? So I wrote a book that responded to 20 common objections to Christian theism. We live in an atheistic society, in a sense, or at least a society in which atheism has become a shorthand way of saying I'm more intelligent than you. And I don't think this is true at all. And so in this little book, I respond to these 20 questions with logic and science, and I do so, I think, with clarity, I hope, and in an unheated way. So if you are someone who wants to learn more about your faith, or you want to help others defend their faith, this would be a great book for you. So theporneffect.com is the website I run for young adults on how to be free of porn. My personal website is mattfradd.com.